I'm Darren Karp, and joining me today is Bachelorette heartthrob. Yes, I said heartthrob. We got Mike Johnson in the house. How you doing, Mike?
Thank you for having me.
See, I would blow out my speakers, and every person in my New York apartment would hate me if I did a greeting like that, but I give it up to you. So we got to talk about your upcoming book, Making the Love You Want, which is coming out so soon. I got to ask, what made you decide to write a book in the first place?
Being crazy. That's what made me decide to write a book. No, seriously, I decided to write a book because so many different pieces, like all the things that I've gone through in my life, all the people that reach out to me, as far as like my extended family, aka the fans, as far as my family members, my loved ones, my friends and homeboys and homegirls, telling me their struggles and things that they go through. And quite honestly, it boils down to the same thing. We just need more love of self. And I think that every single human being on this planet Earth, at some point in time or another, needs that encouragement, needs that boost, needs to be able to stand in their power. And so that's what my book is all about.
I love that. I always say you have to say I before you can say I love you. And so that seems to be a running theme in your book, which makes sense.
I never heard that before, but I like that.
You're going to trademark that right now. You're going to write that in your next book. I just want acknowledgement. That's all I ask for. Just a little to Darren, something like that. I got to ask them, did your experiences with love on The Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise shape what you wrote in the book? I mean, how much of your experience is really caked into that?
I would say not physically being on the show more so, but a bigger piece came from being off the show and like popping on social media. And I mean, I was just blessed with so many people that would write to me to this day and just tell me their experiences, things that they've gone through. So I would say the show definitely propelled me for that. And the aftermath of being on a show, the trolls that want attention, some of the things that they say can be hurtful to some people. To me, I find it sad for them. I think that they need to be educated and they need a mom, And so that's what the show gave me. That's what the show brought. Well, there's so much to me more than a show. And so there's so much more to you, Darren. There's so much more to all of us than the side that people know us for, right?
Right. And, being on those shows, they only get a glimpse of you for X amount of weeks for a certain period of time. You were Mike Johnson before, you're Mike Johnson afterwards. So we only get to see a little side of you, to your point. But when you look back at your time on those shows, do you have any regrets about it? I mean, do you look back on it fondly? How are you placing it in your mind?
If I had a homeboy that was going on the show, I was like, bro, make sure you had the best body you can possibly have. Yeah. They're going to want to have you with your shirt off at some point in time. That's probably all I would say.
You're going to have a shower scene, something with waters. You're going to rip off your shirt in some sort of way. You got to be tight. That's fair.
You got to be tight.
What can you tell me about what's in this book? I mean, would you say this is along the lines of like an advice self-help book, or is it your experiences in love and your friends' experience in love just throughout your life and kind of lessons to learn?
Thank you for asking that question. This book is not about me. It's I speak about me maybe in like 20 pages of this book. This book that's why my face is not on the cover of my book. My book is so much more than just me. Now, with that being said, I do speak about some incredible tough times that I've gone through, from these depressed states to, being in the hospital to trying to overcome certain things that people shouldn't have to overcome in the first place. But the book is not about how to be in a relationship with somebody unless that person is yourself, right? Like you just said, which I'm going to steal. When you say I love you, you say I first. And I love that you said that. You're so on the money with that. I thank you so much for that. This book is, like I said before, it teaches people how to stand up in their power. It teaches you how to completely obliterate self-limiting beliefs that we've all had at one point in time or another. That's what my book is about. The book is, I remember a time to where I was just bombarded with people I love telling me the crap that they're going through.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, this is my solution to a growing problem of mental illness that people don't. Like, people in the media talk about it, But when you talk about it with your friends and things of that nature, we kind of don't want to talk about it all the time because we may feel some type of way. Right. But it's real. People are going through this.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of mental health. I certainly am a big advocate for therapy. I see a therapist. I think we should be all a little bit more open about it. I'm curious, what do you think is the first step in self-love? I mean, what's the one thing we all kind of need to be doing, at least firstly?
I think the first step is to I have so many first steps came to my mind, quite honestly. The first step would be to reflect on things that have taken place and take yourself out of it from being a victim, right? Don't be a victim to certain situations that have taken place. Also, be introspective on different things that have taken place, right? If you weren't the victim, but maybe you did something wrong, learn from that. You know, there's things that I've done wrong that I speak about in my book that I was so embarrassed to tell my mom about. But I was introspective and I've learned from those things. I've grown from those things. And to know that, baby, it's okay. It's all good.
It's all good. Honestly, if I had you saying, baby, it's okay to me every morning, I don't care what's happening to me in my life. I feel good. I got to say, I feel great right now. You know, if someone's going to read your book, what's the one thing you hope that they take away? Like, what's the biggest lesson you hope that they can read about?
The biggest lesson is that you absolutely can achieve anything in this world. We hear it all the time. Like, we hear it so much, but we don't believe it for some reason. Like, I just listened to some podcast, somebody that I like, and they were talking about when they were in kindergarten, the teacher said, write on the board what you want to be when you grow up. And this kid said he wanted to be in the NBA. And the teacher said, no, you can't put that. Right? And it's like, yo, I can do this. How are you going to tell me I can do anything I want to do? But then as people, we're the same way. When we grow up, so many people tell us no, no, no. And so that once we become adults, we're like, no, I can't do that. When in actuality, if you have grit, if you have determination, if you have confidence, and you know, if you're realistic, things can be achieved. And so I just want people to take away from my book that you can overcome, you can get through, you can be even better if you choose to.